Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Next Man Up. Oh, no, wait, it's not Next Man Up, because have you seen on Twitter, we have officially rebranded back to what is our overall name, which is the British and Irish Eagles podcast. So if you're listening to this on your Spotify or your Apple podcast, you've already probably seen the new logo on there. You've seen it before, but we are officially now the British and Irish Eagles podcast. And hey, listen. Welcome back to the podcast, Mick, Phil. Great to see you again. I'll bring in our special guest, fashionably late American, in a moment. But before we do that, Phil, bring you in, sir. You new lease on life now. We said in the last podcast, you're out there searching for work. But more importantly, we've been doing a bit of whiskey tasting as we've been coming up to this podcast.
Yeah, there's been a new development with the whiskey game for the British and Irish Eagles, courtesy of our previous podcast. Tony Brewerton sent us all out a little care package with not one, not two, but 3 bottles of 12-year-old single malt whiskey, courtesy of Loch Lomond Whiskies. And they're not all the same either, so it's not just sort of trying to butter us up with quantity. There is quality in there as well. We've got a smoky one, we've got a fruity one, and we've got a perfectly balanced one. And perfect balance is what I'm on tonight, and I'm looking forward to getting into that one. I don't know about you guys, but you guys, which ones have you selected?
I'm on the perfectly balanced as well, and I know Mick is as well. He said pre-podcast. We're going to get into Loch Lomond in a little bit, and some competitions and some news later on in the podcast. But Mick, bring you in, sir.
Yes,
How
sir.
are you? The Scottish flag looking well in the background, sir.
Yes, of course. You've got to rep the colours, like I said. So tartan up the background to make it look good, make myself look good. Repping the Celtic green.
I like the hoops.
Of course. But yeah, glad to be talking to you guys again about the birds. It's one of my favourite times of the week. So, but at the end of the week, you can have a nice wee drink tonight. We've got the holiday weekend ahead of us.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, can't wait.
Looking forward to it. I might see what your guys' plans are in a second. But fashionably late American, Tony G, my friend, 4th time on the British and Irish Eagles podcast. 5th time. Maybe I missed one. All right, 5th time. That is the most by
You've let
any
him on
guess.
5 times?
I know, it's a bit crazy, right?
It's ridiculous.
But he's back, and he's back for what I would say is probably your favorite time of the year, bar this season. If we get into the playoffs, Tony, bring you in on how excited you are about the upcoming draft. And ladies and gentlemen, just by way of an introduction to what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be talking briefly introductions as we do as always, and then we're going to be doing some live mock drafts for you all. Each of us is going to do a live mock draft on the PFF simulator. Tony, how excited are you to be back on the podcast, drafting, and looking forward to the draft, my friend?
This is a tradition unlike any other, minus Masters, obviously.
Where's your TV?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I kind of messaged with you, Liam. I got locked out of a few mock websites because I was mocking too much. So, yeah, that's what I do before I fall asleep at night. I just mock. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped up. Pretty excited. Obviously, we'll get into it, as you guys know, but pretty pumped so far. And I like the moves we did, except for one, and we'll talk about that. So.
Oh, okay. I'm interested in that one then. Specifically, we've been doing lots of mocks here as well ourselves. And when we do our mocks today, we'll do a bit of a grade on each other at the end of the mock. And we're live. Oh my God, I should say we're live for the first time. This is live on Twitter. This is live on YouTube. So this is very exciting for us. Normally we have the bit 4 or the safety net, I should say, Mick, of being able to make any lives or post live edits to the podcast. So,
so watch how much wine you drink tonight.
Well, I've got a bottle of Malbec Trento here, and also I've got a bottle of whiskey. So, I mean, I can't really go wrong with those two by my side, can I? Or can I? Good stuff. All right, folks. Happy Easter to everyone listening in as well. I hope you're all enjoying a nice Easter break wherever you're listening to this. Let's just want to touch on Trevor Street, the new defensive tackle that the Eagles picked up pretty much a couple of days after we did our last our last podcast. 26 years old, DT, played for the Saints last year, had a few seasons, underwhelming seasons probably at the 49ers after an ACL injury coming out of college. Last year, though, he had his highest snap count, over 500 snaps, 3.5 sacks, 6'2", 285 pounds. With his age profile and his physique profile, 1-year deal, low cost. I mean, it's Howie all written all over him in this off season, Tony. You mentioned he trains not too far from you. It's not a blockbuster move. We're not going to spend too much time on it. Rotational piece, really, Tony. Right? That's all we're talking here.
Yeah, basically a depth piece, camp body, if you will. He may or may not make the team long term. Practice squad potentially as well. But it all depends on what we obviously do in the draft, because we always love to address the line on both sides of the ball. So, but a solid depth player. He has experience at least, and yeah, I mean, he's from the area here. He went to North Carolina State and trains not too far from my house here in South Carolina. So,
yeah,
the gym down the street's using them in all their promotional social media. So,
who benches more, Tony? There, you or Tre'Davious here? What's going on? He got you on the bench press?
Yeah, about 20 years ago.
I can imagine you back in those gyms. 15. All right, yeah, there you go. Give yourself some slack here, Tony. Come on.
Hey, I was saying, you guys were saying I was on here 5 times really quick. At this point, I might as well get a free bottle of whiskey, So.
Oh, well. See, we were talking about all the Tonys on the last podcast, weren't we? Maybe we need to introduce Tony and Tony together.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah, and the other Tony, all the Tonys. Javon Hargrave and Dominic Sue, Limble, Joseph, all pickups last season. The defensive tackle, obviously. We've let Javon Gravedigger Hargrave go, and DT for me is probably the most obvious pickup in the draft at the moment. That's flip-flopped from offensive tackle before Lane had an extension, and then when the cornerback scenario was going on with Slay leaving and everyone thinking Bradbury was going to be gone, we were thinking cornerback is the go-to. I mean, what's going to happen between now and the draft? It's going to change our minds. I know Bijan Robinson is being talked about on all airways and channels now at Pick 10 that I'm seeing online and in our podcast and other mainstream media. I know Phil likes to muse that potential pickup at 10 as well. And hey, let's see what the draft boards look like later on today. But just a recap again of the moves the Eagles have made so far. So that is their 7th signing now in free agency with Terrell Edmonds, Justin Evans, Geedy Williams, Nick Moreau, and Street, as well as Marcus Mariota at quarterback, and also Rashard Penny at running back. So some good moves. They did lose 10 players. I won't list them all. We've gone through them already. We know who those players are. And also they've re-signed Kelsey, Graham, Bradbury, Cox, Boston Scott, Darius Slay, and Lane to an extension as well. So, Giant Killer's back, baby. Giant Killer's back. Even for those 1 or 2 touchdowns this season. Look, some interesting moves. And before we go any further, Phil, we've got a new NFL draft competition to announce. This was really successful last year. Take it away, my friend. How can people get involved?
Yeah, so last year it was a bit of a fun thing to do. Created a bit of a Google form, predict the top 3 players that are going to go in the draft, maybe the first Eagles player and 1 or 2 others. And it was pretty successful. I think it made it a little bit more enjoyable to watch the draft outside of the Eagles. So this year we're going to take it up a notch. Obviously now we've got our A game with with Mick doing the graphics and plenty of swag to give away, be that an Eagles draft cap or maybe even some Loch Lomond whiskey potentially. Maybe. So as it's going to be the same format as last time. Google Forms on the streets now. If you listen to this live or recorded, get onto our Twitter page. The link's through there. The newsletter will be coming out in the next few days, so there's a link in there.
What kind of point system we talking here? I'm so excited.
You can't win this, Liam. You know that. Or maybe we should have a competition between the 3 of us, just to.
I think we can enter, but we can only win between the 3 of us. Something decide between us.
I'm
Either
well
way,
aware
so we're
that I still need to do some of my
certain
forfeits.
forfeits. Yes, certain forfeits.
yeah,
you know,
are
well,
still
we
to be
haven't
cashed in.
completed the last lot of forfeits, have we? Really?
Well, let Phil take command again. It's fine.
So there's going to be 8 questions. I'll go through them in just a second, just to detail what they are. They've all, as Liam's alluded to, they're all awarded a very different degree of points due to their difficulty, or just because we felt like it. And essentially, the people who get the most points will win some prizes. At the moment, I think it's going to be the top 4. We've got a draft cap that we're going to give away, and 3 bottles of whiskey, I think, is what we've been discussing. So at the moment, that's the
confirmed.
prizes.
That's confirmed.
That is confirmed. Happy days. So there you go. So we've got 4 prizes. So top four people will win some prizes, and we've already actually got about 14 people signed up. Just an update on that. So there's already some people eager to get their draft predictions on. The questions are as follows. So as I said before, who's going to be the top 3 players picked? So there's a separate question for each one. So who you going to think is going to be picked first? Who you think is going to be picked second, and then third? Who are the Eagles going to take with their first pick? Deliberately saying first pick, not pick 10, because we all know how he can be like.
Oh, I like that.
And who do the Eagles take with their second pick? Likewise, might not even be pick 30, could be pick 60. It depends on how he decides he wants to do.
Pick 22. I mean, who knows?
Who knows? And then next we've got basically, will the Eagles trade up or trade down? So there's an option to say whether you think the Eagles will trade up with either of the picks, or trade down with either of the picks, or just stick with the.
So that's day 1, is it? That's day 1. Yeah,
I think it's on day 1. Yeah, you're all right. Sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, so will the Eagles trade up or trade down on day 1? So with either of the pick 10 or pick 30, will they trade back or trade up with them? Then we've got whether the Eagles will draft more defensive or offensive players. Now, given the fact that they've made a whole host of defensive signings, could allude to the fact they're going offense, or maybe that's a red herring. Who knows? And then we've got the first O lineman.
That's a nice one. I like that one, because that could be anywhere on the board.
Anywhere. That's not specific to the Eagles. So first offensive lineman taking the draft, and then the first cornerback taken in the draft. And last but not least, question. Yeah, maybe. Lastly, the final question is similar to what we do for our in-season predictions for matches, when we go for an outside-the-box prediction, which is, if you haven't listened to any of the previous pods, where have you been? But if you do know, if you want a bit of clarification, outside the box is a bit of a subjective concept, but essentially it's got to be something that people are going to go, really? You think that's going to happen? But it's not entirely impossible. So the Eagles take some ridiculously... they
2 running backs in the first 3 picks, or something like that, right?
2 running backs in the first 3 picks. Yeah, thanks, Liam. Perfect. Something like that. Something that's a bit like weird but possible. And then that's going to be awarded a massive 5 points. All the other questions are a point each, apart from the Eagles
First
picks,
3.
who are worth 3. The top one's split into 1, so there'll be 1 point each, but it's the first question split into 3. Outside the box will be worth 5 points, so you've got to make sure it's pretty spectacular. You can't just go sort of Liam-esque with your outside the box and go just on the very periphery of outside the box. You actually have to
why
be.
Not?
You have to have a few. You have to have some big cojones to sort of to get this one, and it will be judged by me. So you have to impress someone who is experienced in the outside the box concept. I think that's it in terms of the covering all the details of it. So get yourself signed up, get yourself predictions in, and then shortly after the draft, I'll tally up all the points, and we'll announce the winners.
There you go. Look at that. Beautifully timed there, Mick, with the points on the screen to finish it up. Fantastic stuff. And then finally, just while we're here and before we get into the mock drafts as well, Mick, we got some more news on our new Loch Lomond partnership.
Of course, mate. So, as you know, as everyone has probably heard, seen the retweets on Twitter, heard Tony last week on our podcast, not Tony G, but Tony B. We're working through our Tonys from A to Z. And we've struck up this exciting new partnership with Loch Lomond Whiskies. And as Phil said at the top of the podcast as well, we've been gifted a few bottles to try out. Over the next couple of weeks, couple of podcasts, we'll be talking a bit more in depth. If you like your whiskey, then be sure to listen in, because we're going to be doing a bit of a taste testing. If you're a long-time listener of the British and Irish Eagles podcast, formerly Next Man Up podcast, you'll know that how much I love whiskey and how much I love talking about it. And if I could, I would have my own whiskey podcast, and I would bin this in a heartbeat.
Oh,
No, I'm
oh.
joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But that's how much I love it so much. It was such a joy just having the whiskey being delivered and unboxing it, and it's such quality product, and it's really exciting, and it's great for our members as well, because don't forget we also have a 10% discount for every British and Irish Eagles member who shops on the Loch Lomond website, which is live now. The discount code is Eagles-10, and that is live until the end of April. So if you're looking for a little tipple before the draft or during the draft, it's the perfect time, isn't it?
I've just had an idea. I think we should do a little draft watch along maybe at the start, and any Eagles members or anyone watching the podcast and wants to come and join us, a little bit of Loch Lomond as we wait for the first Eagles pick. Maybe we can suit up. And also, as part of the partnership, they've been very kind to gift us a number of bottles and a number of glasses as well, which we're going to be using to raise money for charity, to give away as prizes in quizzes to our members and to people who listen to this podcast. So there's lots more to come for you guys to benefit from. Right. Superb stuff. Superb stuff. Let's get into our first live 2023 mock draft. Now, what I've realized we haven't done is decided who is going to go first. So, Tony!
Hey.
Tony G, as you're here as our honored guest, and as we love having you on pre-draft because your analysis is great, and I remember the stories you told on previous podcasts about you and your dad and writing up all the draft board numbers and your picks and where you want them. We know how much it means to you, not just as a Philly fan, but how much it means to you and your family this time of year. So we love having you back on for this part of the season, man. And I'm buzzing to see what you're going to pick because, yeah, you said you've done loads of mocks and you've been mocking yourself to death and they've blocked you, but you don't know what's going to be left on the board during a live draft, do you? So this is going to be some fun.
I'm all for it.
All right, Mick. How's the technology working? We're going to get that bad boy up in a second.
Yes, I think we're going to get it just now, Liam. Again, please be patient if you're watching live or if you're listening after the fact. Still getting used to this technology. So
New territory. I like it. It's going smooth so far. Well done.
Good. So I take it you can see the screen and you can see that we have the PFF mock draft machine ready and oiled, ready to go. So we're going to do all 7 rounds each. The Eagles don't have that many picks, so it won't take that long. We'll keep the speed pretty fast.
Are we allowed in trades, Mick? What's trades or no trades?
Yes, if you would like to do a trade, we can test that out. I don't mind. I mean, we've got plenty of time.
Yeah. I like it.
I'm not doing anything for the rest of the night, are you? So
you're
all night.
Phil hasn't got a job, so he's going nowhere. So
Right, Tony, are you ready to enter the draft, Tony?
I'm ready.
You got your GM cap on?
Always.
Draft starting now.
And you're on the clock.
And I am on the clock. I've seen a lot of people. I noticed Quentin Johnson on there. I've seen people say, "Oh, why not take him, another big body receiver?" I was like, I don't see us taking a first round receiver again. So,
who's off the board so far, Mick? Well, we got Bryce Young going 1, CJ Stroud 2, Will Anderson Jr. 3, Anthony Richard 4.
Inside information, I think it's CJ Stroud 1 and Bryce Young 2. But
okay, all right, okay.
Which you already labeled me as Panthers because apparently I'm employed by them. So.
Yeah, you heard it here first. CJ Stroud is going to the Panthers. Will Levis 7, Peter Skronsky 8, Devin Witherspoon 9, just before the Eagles pick at 10. Interesting. Over to you, Tom.
I would I mean, if Christian Gonzalez was there, but we just re-upped our two corners for a couple of years, so I don't see us going in that direction in the first round. If I were going on the board here, looking at it, scroll down a little bit, Mick. I definitely like. I know he's a bit undersized, but he kind of falls in line since we lost Javon Hargrave, and I know you guys have hit on that. Going to what it could become our new rival in the Niners. I really like Cansey out of Concy. I don't even know how he pronounces his last name. Out of Pittsburgh, out of Pitt.
Yeah,
ET. I like him there.
He's been all over
very,
media.
Very, very similar build. Very similar play style to Hargrave. He has a few things to work on. Obviously, he can't work on his size in terms of height and everything, but his quickness, his speed, his hands, everything's there. And I just think, knowing Howie, knowing our front office, we have a system where we invest in the lines first, like we've always talked about. So, I think you invest in your lines first because it always starts up front with the big guys on both sides of the ball. So I like him there at 10 going off of this board.
Let's lock that in.
I like it. Kalijah Cansey out of Pitt. Locked in at number 10.
Imagine the real draft went this fast. How glorious would that be? You don't have to stay up 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's what they're trying to do with the sport of baseball right now. So,
hey Mick, we got a little question in there on the chat. Were you hopping up and down with excitement like a kid at Christmas when you opened that delivery of whiskey up? It's from Matt Mills. I said yes, he was. He made a video, and we could potentially release it.
I was doing
that video is actually pretty spectacular. You can't when it gets released, guys. You've got to see it. Genius.
Beautiful voice. I think Mick's trying to get a new job at Loch Lomond Whiskey Distillery.
Mate, if I could, I would.
I'm surprised he hasn't been hired yet as a tester.
Well, to be fair, I think Tony Bruton's trying. Oh, here we go. What a sound.
Has to be done. I mean, this is no different from any other podcast.
That's true. That's true. In fact, you're probably drinking slower than most podcasts.
You know what? Yeah, I am because I'm doing more.
I have a side question. Of those 3 bottles you each individually got, Mick, have you finished all 3 bottles already?
I've ordered another 3 already.
That's actually the 3rd set he's had this week.
They only arrived 2 days ago, so I would be very worried if all 3 bottles were gone by now.
Yeah, that's why the ones that are being given away are being sent directly, and they're not coming to me first because
that's wise.
They won't make it out. They won't make it out. Cumbernauld alive. All right.
Right.
Pick number 30 in the draft.
Number 30. I was trying to be optimistic in all my mocks. I kind of had them. I was hoping they would, if somebody fell, they would trade up. I don't see that happening. I could also very much, as we all know, could see them trading out of 30.
Well, do you want to see your options to trade out?
No, I think I'm going to stick at 30. I think I'm just going to stick. I know. But I could definitely see them potentially flipping 30 for like an additional second in a future 3rd or something, or another second.
Well, like 36 to like 55.
If we're staying here, Mick, scroll down, keep going. All right, y'all, this might not be, I said y'all, you can tell I moved to the South now.
Try to fit in Carolina.
Oh, God. Don't get me started. Everybody, like my one friend here, it's a big Panthers fan, and he's like gung-ho about them. And I said, one thing at a time, man. I like the moves they've made, but one thing at a time. You actually have to start winning. And this might not be popular, maybe it is, but if we're looking at the board, you're looking at best player available. You're talking about, I like all the comments here. This live mock is very nice. And Jake over here is pretty spot on. If we're looking at this, I say you go guard. I know that our boy is going to play guard this year while Kelsey returns. At some point, you're going to need another guard, though. It doesn't hurt to have depth, to have an All-American who's really built for the guard position, plays the guard position better than anybody else in the college game this past year. He's just he's a mauler. And like I said, we always prioritize, and there's nothing wrong with it. The lines up front, always starting with the big boys. So give me Torrance out of Florida at 30.
Osiris the virus. Let's get him in the building.
Torrance. I like that a lot.
Let's go defense. Let's go offensive line. We gotta replenish the barrel, boys. So.
I like that a lot. I mean, DT and O-line guard, given where we're at the moment, we've lost Isaac Sayamalu. I think if we came out with the 2 picks at 10 and 30 with those 2 picks, right now as we stand, depends what happens between now and the draft, and player stock rises up or down. You know, someone else is on the board that we don't know is going to be there. But you give me that right now, I'd probably snap your hand off.
That's fine.
Osiris Torrance, one of the best names in the draft as well.
So absolutely, there's quite a few. You know, in my mocks, I hated waiting until the 62nd pick, just because I'm very trade happy. Like I've mentioned, my friends call me in fantasy football, especially with all my trades, they call me Les Snead Jr. because I have no problem trading the house to get my players. And then I always have a rebuild year for a year.
Nice.
So in my mocks, I had traded up, but if we're sitting here, we stay at 62, looking at best available, scroll down.
Just before you go on, with that like fantasy mindset, like if you got like shed loads of shares in Najee Harris from like last year, he then had a not so good year because people were all over him last year coming out of the draft.
Yeah. No, I know. Now we got Stoutland U.
Stoutland Uni. I like that.
There you go, Matt. Scroll down a little bit, Mick.
I've heard that a lot on the podcast that I've listened to the last few days. There's that been a strong argument for
back up a little bit, Mick.
A later offensive lineman with knowing that we've got Stoutland to sort of bring them up. We can sort of take a later pick and bring them up to the standard of a first round pick. Up.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Phil, completely agree. I've seen that a lot as well, and it's been. I don't know whether there's a little bit too much emphasis on what we did with Mailata. You know, I love Stoutland, and he's doing an incredible job, and he is the best offensive line coach in the league. But I'm not. It feels a bit too much. And I said this the other day on the chat. It feels a bit more like a Howie Roseman quarterback factory comment, as opposed to, we're really good at this, so we could just churn this out all the time. Yes, he's an incredible player, but he's not going to turn 6, 7 round offensive tackles who never played the game into, Pro Bowl caliber players all the time. If he does, then I'll eat my own words. Mick's going to shout at me here. Like, first you got to go with Kelsey. Now you're having to go with Stoutland. I'm not having to go with Stoutland at all.
Don't you dare.
I'm not. Let's not get into this again, guys. We've got more to do. We haven't got time for that kind of conversation.
But it's not going to happen all the time, and I don't think you can bank on that happening. So
to your point, Liam, I just like if Torrance is there, you always invest in your lines. Like I said, eventually Kelsey is going to hang it up, and then our boy would slide over to center. You got your guard there.
I wasn't talking about Cyrus Torrance. I was talking about, there was a comment in the chat, you could turn a third round or a fourth round player in. But Torrance makes perfect sense there. Sure.
Yeah. Mick, can you filter position for me?
Of course I can, sir.
Well, here we go. What are you looking for, Tony?
Go to safety for me.
Safety?
Yes, sir.
He's going to reach for safety.
Reach.
Wants to see who's left.
I just want to see who's on the board.
So we got Anthony Johnson Jr., Jordan Battle, James.
So he's been slipping in a lot of my mocks. Anthony Johnson. He is a converted cornerback. He only played safety for a year. Then again, just like our boy who ditched us for Detroit because he wanted money.
Ex-Shagger.
Yeah, yeah. He has the same representation as Lamar Jackson. So
as in none.
Yeah. They sign
like
contracts in crayon, but we'll not get into that.
Yeah.
I would,
Sydney was there as well, wasn't he, Mick? Can we scroll down a bit further? Because he's been climbing Sydney Brown from Illinois. Safety
I
out of Illinois.
like him a lot. Scroll back up. No, Mick, we're not taking Brandon Joseph. I knew right away as he scrolled down. So
he's too low. Ridiculous.
I really feel like Mick. We need to just draft a Notre Dame player just once.
Ian Book's a stud. Yeah, Ian Book's a real stud. So,
well, we didn't pick him up in the draft. We just picked him up off the.
No, he's just a tackling dummy in practice. So,
isn't that what Britton Covey is?
So I do. So that is true. Except he actually saw the field. I do like Anthony Johnson a lot. I like what Matty Mills over here is saying as well. I was always tempted to take another Alabama guy because of experience. This guy started for 4 years for Saban. You got to be doing something right and know the game to start for 4 years at safety. That means a plug and play player. He won't have a big learning curve. But it might be a bit of a reach. So let's go back to the overall board real quick, Mick. I'm not going to hold you guys up. I'm not going to go position by position. Don't worry.
Can I
see the punters, please?
I've got all night and a full bottle of whiskey.
Scroll down, Mick.
Feels like I've got baby duty in an hour, Mick. Yeah. Shut up.
He already was listening on high tune. I saw him. So he's got to keep one ear out.
Yeah, right.
So I like
every time there's this crazy little noise, I'm like a meerkat.
Scroll back up, Mick. So I could see us taking another edge rusher, but going into the new concept in the defensive scheme, it just depends on that player. If they're a stand-up outside 3-4 edge. There's LaDainian Tomlinson's cousin. I really like, scroll back up. If you're going on best player available on the board, can never have enough depth at
quarterback.
yeah, I know, right? No. Can never have enough depth at, and I do like Nathan Dell, but he's a little undersized. I do like, if you're going best available on the board, I do like adding another cornerback to the room.
You're looking at Syracuse here?
And I like Garrett Williams, in that position.
I was looking at that as well.
So I actually think he's ranked a little lower than he should be if you watch any of his tape. So if you're going best available player, which, is the concept besides hitting on the lines, you can never have enough solid cornerbacks because even though we re-signed our two guys, age is catching up to them sooner than later. And one of the two may not even play out the rest of that contract before a trade happens. So
the only thing I'd say about Garrett Williams is he does play quite a lot of man compared to zone. So he's played a bit of zone, but
I agree. But best available, you're going by count. If a guy can play man, I'm sure he could pick up on zone. Yeah. So give me Garrett Williams there.
Nice.
Garrett Williams locked in.
He's quick. He is quick.
And run through. You know what? The real draft, you only get about 10 minutes to make the pick, Tony, and I think you were stretching it there.
Without having phone calls.
Because I already didn't love the draft, so.
That was it. As soon as the board fell, you're like, well, you see, that's the way the cookie crumbles, Tony.
All right, go back to safety now, Mick.
We're back to safety.
This is where we want our set. Brandon Joseph's just sitting there waiting.
No, thank you.
He's waiting on his phone ringing.
I am a fan of. No, I don't want Brandon Joseph. Please keep me away. Keep me away from Notre Dame guys, please.
You're going to go Anthony Johnson here, aren't
I also like Ronnie Hickman because of experience, and he played zone.
What do you know
But
about
I
Ronnie?
like the
Do you like
versatility
Ronnie?
I like the versatility in Anthony Johnson. I don't know why I keep slipping. Personally, I haven't seen anything on that. I think it's just PFF's great grading scale as usual.
Yeah, I mean, they're not always right. They're never right.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
the rank is 69th, and
Yeah.
we're picking at 94 just now, so you're getting tremendous value there. If we're just
yeah,
counting
so
on
give
the
me
rank.
Anthony Johnson there.
It's his ADP. It's people like me and you taking Anthony Johnson too late. That's hurting his stock in the PFF mock draft machine. It's PFF.
Give me a safety. Let's pick on need on this one.
All right, Anthony Johnson locked, and now
I'm not trying to hold up y'all's draft because I'd have about 20 trades going down right now.
if you want
worry
a trade,
about it.
speak up now before we get to the over 150. Or you're letting it ride out to 200?
Stop it. Where are we at right now?
155.
155.
Scroll down on the who's picking in order there, Mick.
Yeah.
See the list? Keep going. I look for relationships on trades. That's how I do it. Keep going.
Relationships on trades.
Yeah, so like
Explain that.
Shane Steichen, our idiot defensive coordinator that got hired by Arizona.
Oh, there's the Saints. We could probably do what we want to them.
I don't know if we're gonna fleece them again. So
I don't know. I would bank against it.
Go with see if we can make a trade with the let's make a trade with the Colts and Steichen.
Colts at 162.
Yep.
It's a good job I know how to use this thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right, we want 162. What you giving back, Tony?
So in my mocks, I just force trades. No, I'm kidding. Give them 219. And give them, what round are we in? Round 5. Give them a round 4 pick in 2025. See what that does.
2025?
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah. You're all in.
All right. Yep. Offer the trade.
Accepted.
Okay. Let's go. What we got left on the board here, Mick?
Some cornerbacks and safeties.
Isn't that funny?
You got some running backs there as well.
We do.
Tackle.
Is there a position you've got in mind here?
Yeah.
And it's not there.
Well, scroll up. Yeah. Scroll up. I already hate this draft for everybody that's watching online. Let's see.
You got Corey Trice, cornerback Purdue. You got Starling Thomas V, cornerback. You got Marty Mapu, safety out of Sacramento State.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot
of people projecting the guy from Sacramento State as a potential outside linebacker because of his size.
And there's nothing wrong with picking up 2 safeties given the personnel we have at the moment.
Yeah,
even with who we brought in. So I don't mind that.
At one point, you and I could have auditioned for a position at safety.
Exactly.
So.
Well, maybe before COVID, but or after the wedding. Both will. I'll be the same way before and after both.
I don't know. That honeymoon might hit you hard. So.
Matt Mills, prime punter territory, lads. I don't know about giving away a future 4th to then sign a punter though. That feels a bit wrong.
Is that guy that was accused of rape still out there? So.
Oh God, no. Well, oh yeah. I think they said he was going to play for a Mexican team, didn't they? At one point.
No, that makes sense.
So,
sorry, not to offend anybody out there from Mexico. So.
No. He's out there, but I don't think anyone's picking him up. Obviously, for obvious reasons.
Scroll up. Let me see something, Mick. Keep going a little bit. Keep going. A little bit
So you got
more.
Broderick Martin.
Yeah. Scroll.
Sound like my missus here. Keep going.
Actually, go to LB real quick. Scroll to the position linebacker. I know we hate the position as an organization. So
I don't think we hate it that much that we wouldn't mind a pickup at 162 though.
No. I'm a
Ventrell Miller out of Florida.
Yeah, I'm a little biased here. I do
Troy Brown out of Mississippi.
Ventrell. I like Ventrell's experience. Let's roll the dice here. Give me Ventrell at 162.
Ventrell.
Right, before I do, right, I'm getting shit for talking about my guys in Notre Dame, and you've drafted 2 Gator players. So let's just have that out there.
Yeah, well, guess what? The SEC is a little different than whoever independent Notre Dame plays, or ACC temporarily. Because they think they're so much better than everybody.
Yeah.
Until they make a playoff game and get blown out every time. So I'm just letting it ride out. I already hate the draft for those.
I think you've had enough time in this draft anyway, Tony. I mean, I'm surprised we've got any listeners still watching us. So. I'm just kidding.
I need a drink. I need to keep up with you boys.
Yeah, you got a tackle here, Trevor Reed. If you're on the bandwagon, that some people are, that Jeff Stoutland can turn Miles around willy-nilly. You got him there. You got an edge. You haven't picked up any edge rushers. At the moment, you got a couple there. Caleb Murphy's one. Scroll up, Mick, there a second. You've also got Tavarius Robinson, tackle Trevor Reed, another linebacker. Got a few options there.
Scroll up. Let's go with. I actually like him a little bit, but we are in round 7, so
yeah.
Scroll down a tiny bit, Mick.
Sorry, did you say down or up?
Down, yeah.
Yeah, down. All right, stay right there.
That's the spot.
So you're looking at Keaton Thompson, wide receiver.
I'm taking heat for Notre Dame, man. I'm not listening to this.
Yeah,
listen, I will draft every Notre Dame player on the fucking board if I want to when it comes to my turn. All right, Jake. All right, Tony. All right, Liam. All right, Phil. Go Irish.
They're calling you out. So.
I've not said a damn thing about Notre Dame.
Nor have I.
I don't care.
They're calling you out. Florida is different than Notre Dame.
All right, come on, Tony. What are you doing?
All right, sorry. Let's scroll up. I'm not taking shorter if anybody's wondering, so scroll up. Give me. Scroll down a little bit.
Tavius Robinson. Caleb Chandler.
Let's roll SEC. Give me Robinson. I will draft everybody from the SEC, man. So
edge rusher out of Mississippi. Beautiful. So just to
probably got an F.
Big time. Just to be clear. Oh, hang on. Let's see what you got here. Hang on. What we got? C plus.
Beautiful.
Should have had a few more Notre Dame players there.
So just to do a recap there, as we're all still alive, I hope people are still listening. Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle, pick number 10. Cyrus Johnson, right guard, pick 30. Garrett Williams, quarterback, pick 62. Anthony Johnson Jr., pick 94 out of Ohio State. Reaching for Ventrell Miller, linebacker, at 162 after trading away a future 4th. Not sure how that one's going to go down when we look at this at the end. And then finally, Tavius Robinson, the edge rusher out of Mississippi. So C+. Tony G, thank you, my friend. We will also, please, if you could send us through your favorite mock draft that you've done, we will release that on Twitter as well. So you can share what kind of draft you like. We can't see that on screen, but if you send it through, we'll save you some face and get your favorite mock draft.
I appreciate it.
All right, good stuff. I fancy a roll, Mick. You want to dial me in?
Yes.
Should we take it? Do we need to take a little break, or is everyone?
No,
all right?
We do not need to take a break.
Mick would like to draft Manti Te'o again and his girlfriend.
All righty, go on then. I will go for my mock draft. Deal me in, pick 10, 7 rounds. I promise I will take half the time Tony did.
Okay, let's enter the draft. This is Liam's mock draft.
I might do some trades though. Who knows?
Well, remember to shout quickly if you want to trade up because it does go fast.
I'll wait till 10. All right, what
we're
we
at
got?
10.
Who's the first 9 that have gone there on the board? Let me have a little look here.
It is the same as Tony's board.
It is the same as Tony's board. Okay, have a little scroll down there for me. We got Quentin Johnson, wide receiver. Christian Gonzalez. I'm not taking a wide receiver here. I like Kalaji Kansi, but I'm not going to go the same. Lucas Van Ness at 10. I'm going to see my trade options, please, Mick. I'm going to have a little look at what trade options are available for me there. I want to look down so click on the drop down. I want to see what other teams are available. I'm going to go with, can't see there. Mick, you got over options there at 12 I can have a little look at.
Do you want to trade with the Texans at 12?
No. Just click on it and see whatever they're available there. I'll have a little look. If you click on it, it'll open up.
I have. You can trade with anyone, Liam.
Oh, normally it shows you who else you can do. Is there any available at 17?
Yep, Pittsburgh at 17.
Let's go Pittsburgh at 17. Let's go for that. We'll trade 10. See if we can pick up. See what 32 does. No chance. All right, let's go 49.
Okay,
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Let's go.
See if the Steelers are happy with that. They are happy with that.
All right, okay, let's go. I picked up another second rounder there. I'm pretty happy with that. 17. Okay, he's gone now.
Okay. Gonzo went.
Yeah.
JSN went.
Yeah.
Lucas Van Ness, Paris Johnson, Quentin Johnson, Kansey, and Joey Porter Jr.
I was hoping Paris Johnson Jr. was going to be there for me at pick 10. So we got Deontay Banks. I'm not going tight end. Brian Branch. That's very tempting. I'm not going White. I'm not a big fan. Brian Breeze. It could go. All right. I'm going to go. I like my guy here. He's one of my favorite edge rushers in the draft. Give me Nolan Smith, edge rusher out of Georgia at pick 17.
Georgia Dogs. You are a Philadelphia Eagle.
I really would love to see him in Kelly Green this year. I think the athleticism he has really excites me. The bursts he's going to get into the backfield when you think that we've got Sweat and Reddick on the edge already, and you've got Graham coming in on the rotation. I mean, Sackadelphia, man. Give me Smith. Give me Nolan Smith.
I like it.
All
I
right.
like it a lot.
We got.
I was just stopping Battle Royale 3 downstairs because in the cats.
Oh yeah. So I
generally thought I was going to see blood.
Oh no. So I made a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So pick 10, traded out for pick 17 and pick, I think, 49, something like that. So I'm now at pick 30. Ooh, Anton Harrison is still available at pick 30. Tackle out of Oklahoma. That is very tempting. Not going Emmanuel Forbes. Massey Smith out of Michigan, maybe. I like Dale and Jones as well. Don't need Oalari. Cyrus Torrance could go as well. I feel like a Cyrus Torrance is the... Scroll up, Mick. Go back to the very top there a second. Click on Anton Harrison there. What age have we got on Anton? I can't remember what age he is. First look should show you. 21. Yeah. 21. All right. I've said this before.
Young.
I like them young. I like my draft picks young. I like to give them time to develop. I think he's a top 25 draft pick on most people's boards. He's 6'4". He's 315 pounds. He's got good size. His technique is decent. It will get a lot better. And with Jeff Stoutland at the helm, I think that Anton Harrison is a great pickup at 30. And I'm delighted with both of those picks. Give me the edge rusher. Give me the tackle. Let's go.
All right.
Anton Harrison.
You are a Philadelphia Eagle. There's some comments there about Charbonnet bringing in a running back.
I think they meant 62 there. I think 62 was mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, what do we got here? 49. So this is the pick that I traded away for. Okay. Tyreek Stevenson, maybe. Julius Brents. I like Julius Brents quite a lot. Cody Mark as well, but no point getting him now. Garrett Williams now. Fly back up, please, Mick. Right to the top. I'm in between. I'm going to go cornerback here because I think we need the depth, and I feel like this is a good position to develop one. But I'm torn between Tyreek Stevenson and Julius Brents. Click on Tyreek Stevenson there for me, Mick. Just quickly get a first look. 22 years of age, 6 foot, 198 pounds. All right, let me have a little look at the athletic profile of Brents as well.
I'm really getting a workout in this podcast, tell you that.
Got first look, 23.2, 6'3", too tall for me for a cornerback. Won't have the same pace. All right, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm going cornerback. I'm not going Julius Brents. I'm going to go Tyreek Stevenson. I like what he's done in Florida. And I think best player on the board for the Philadelphia Eagles at this pick.
Wonderful.
Tyreek Stevenson.
There we go. 62.
Yeah, don't want a wide receiver, don't want a quarterback, don't want a cornerback now either. Don't want an edge rusher. Again, don't need quarterback. I could go edge again, double down and go Andre Carter. I like Andre Carter out of Army, and but I think it's fairly easy for me, to be honest. I think the Eagles are short at running back after they've let Miles Sanders go. I like what the chat said. He is available here at 62. His ADP is 62. His rank is 60. It makes sense for the Eagles if he is still there on the board, especially with picking up that extra second round pick. I'm thinking of needs for the Philadelphia Eagles here. Give me Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA, please.
Locked in. Liam's having a draft, man. The comments are lighting up on this one. They're loving it.
I like that. Good pick name, Nolan Smith. Oh yeah, I'm getting a bit of niceness on the line. I like this live.
Hey, listen. People listening, watching the podcast. Liam does not need his ego stroked. He does. It's the last thing that Liam needs. So just tone it down a little bit.
I'll be good. All right, I'm gonna go rapid through these. So where we're at now, we're at pick 94. I think it's pretty easy for me. I think I've already got it, but scroll down a couple more. Keep going. Don't need another half. No inferior defensive tackle, but perhaps. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with a similar pick to Tony here. Go right back to the top there. Give me Robinson, safety. Anthony Johnson, I should say, junior safety out of Ohio State. It's another need for us. I don't know why he's dropped as much as he had, as just mentioned. I feel like this is a good pickup for the Eagles, and it's a need for them as well. I'm going on needs here and best players available, and I'll take Anthony Johnson Jr. here.
Nice.
94. Right, rapid fire all the way to pick 219.
I wonder if we can speed this up as it goes.
It's all right.
Whoa.
Oh, look at this. Love that.
And we stop the wheel.
How many best player available? Position of need. Scroll down again. Yeah, I like Mikael Jones out of Syracuse. Give me linebacker Mikael Jones out of Syracuse as well.
Done.
Here, late pick in the round. And then finally, with the last pick, a luxury pick here. Give me a luxury pick. Yeah, give me Keaton Thompson, wide receiver out of Virginia. Bit of depth.
All right.
Fight for the wide receiver 4 role for the Eagles. I like that a lot. What do we reckon on the grading then, chaps?
I think you'll get
C.
B.
Right. B.
I just realized that my mic and camera was off, but B.
Oh, you're all good. I'll take a B, folks. I'm going to pause there, and Mick, I will pass it over to you, sir.
Oh, hold on. Let me download your image so I can stitch these together after the podcast.
I definitely love that pick at 49 with the trade.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah.
I can't claim to know an awful lot about him, but I do like what you've done here, Liam. I think you've covered pretty much.
And Zach's a good running back. See, there's Thompson. That's the guy I thought about.
Don't you watch the swap drafts with Liam, I think.
Yeah, when you publish the mocks, use one of my more professional ones.
Right, shall we enter the draft one more time? I think I'll head on to this one. So let's go, everybody. I'm just going to start stirring stuff up. Because
it's a little early here, but I thought I'd join you guys. Sponsored by America.
Sponsored by America. Thank you, America.
Thank you.
Okay, so the top picks are all the same because we've not changed the settings. So,
Notre Dame.
Where is Mike Mayer? Where is Mike Mayer? How far down is he? I'm going to grab him. Go and get him. I love him. I need him. No, I think. You know what? I've said it in previous podcasts. I love Gonzo. I do. And our cornerback room, and whilst, we've extended Slay a little bit, we have given a contract to James Bradbury. But age, yeah, exactly, Tony. you just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Age, and we need someone who's going to backfill that position, especially the next couple of years. And he can learn off of these veterans whilst he comes in, because, are we really going to ride with some of the guys that how he just picks up off the street, because that's what we've been trying to ride with in recent years and it doesn't work. So let's get a premium pick, a premium position. Let's draft Gonzo season.
I like that. Big time. I thought about that. So
yeah, it was too obvious, I think.
Hold on a second. Liam was complaining about me taking forever, yet he was pulling up athletic profiles on most of the guys.
We thought you wouldn't notice that.
Of course I noticed it.
we just did that.
I've not seen Gonzalez there at 10 on many mock drafts I've done, so I think you're quite lucky that he's been there. So
he's been in every one we've done. Unbelievable.
Not tonight, yeah, but not in the ones that I've done. Maybe because I've had the sliders different. I don't know, but
it could be. It very well could be. There's a lot going on with pick 30. There's a lot of guys left on the board that look quite tantalizing. Osiris Torrance, I love that pick that you made, Tony. I really do. But just to sort of steer away from picking the same guys and all that sort of thing, I think I'm going to go in a different direction.
Totally fine.
Possibly
going off of our concept with Lyman. That's basically what I went with.
That's it. We all know how much Howie Roseman loves his linemen, and my draft so far isn't going with that MO of his. But apparently the last couple of drafts he has liked a few corners in the draft, and he's tried to get his guys. I think we were in for SZN at one point, or possibly JC Horn, but they went too early, or we couldn't pay the price for them. So we ended up where we were. Anyway, waffling on. So with the second pick, I'm going to go for Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. I know that is a luxury pick. He's a running back. You don't tend to take these guys in the first round, but you know what? We are in a position where the Eagles just left a Super Bowl, and maybe the running back position won't change the outcome of that Super Bowl in particular, but we have lost Miles Sanders. We have picked up a couple of, how he's throwing darts at the board trying to with Penny. And I think if we could do with some youth in there, Boston Scott's getting a bit older as well, and it's also a pass catching option, something that we've not really got on the team. We've used Gainwell a bit in that field, but We didn't use Sanders at all.
Mick, not to cut you off real quick, but you guys know in some of my mocks, I had a pipe dream, and I tried to trade up from 30 into the late teens and draft our boy from Texas. I know that's unrealistic, but God, I would love that.
That would be sexy, wouldn't it? I wonder where Bijan actually went. Let me just check, actually. See, he's off the board, but how high did he go?
He's incredible.
I can't find him. Maybe I've missed it.
Most mocks.
Oh, there he is. Oh, he went to the Giants. Oh, catastrophe.
What have you done, Mick? What have you done?
They don't need Bijan. They got Saquon Barkley. That's safe.
All right, Jahmyr Gibbs, give it to me.
I love Jahmyr Gibbs.
So does my father.
Yeah, I love him. Although he did drop a fairly simple catch in the workouts when he was scoring the ball. But,
he was just doing that so he would slip down the draft and the Eagles could take him. That's the only reason he's done that. So I've been told.
It was so evident. I think I've said it before. It was so evident the difference in quality between Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs when they were doing all the drills. Like, it was just chalk and cheese. Them compared to everyone else. Sorry, go ahead, Mick.
No, not at all. That's fine. So with my next pick, round 2, pick 31, I've already taken a cornerback. I've already taken a running back. Let's go with an edge player. I feel like we have to hit a line somewhere, or how he will explode into 1,000 pieces. I really like Andre Carter from Army. I think you mentioned him in your mock draft, Liam.
I did, yeah.
He had a monster season, not this year past, but the season before. I think he racked up a tremendous amount of sacks. And, he's got that dog in him as well. He's coming out of a program like Army. He's hard as nails.
6'7" as well on the edge.
6'7", is he? Let me just look at this pretty quickly. Let's first look. That's registered at 6'6". You could be
6'6".
right. Yeah. Senior, give me him all day. I think I like that. Andre Carter. Let's get him in the midnight green.
He had over the last 2 seasons, he had 11 sacks and 52 hurries. 19 sacks, 11 hits, and 52 hurries over the last 2 seasons. So seriously good stats from Andre Carter. I'm not too old for me to be worried.
What age do you start getting worried?
It hits 23 and I'm a no-go, personally. Unless it's a quarterback. You hit 23 and a half years old, I'm starting to wonder why it's taking you so long to get to the draft. Have you just had one good season where you think you can make it? And I'm also thinking about the years wasted. If you get them at 20, 21, 22, much more chance for them to be productive for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just scrolling down the options for pick 94 we're at on the board, and I noticed a couple of guys who have fallen dramatically from where they were projected over maybe even just 1 year ago. Eli Ricks, who, the cornerback, he was previously LSU before he transferred to Alabama, and his stock has just plummeted since. They were talking about, Eli Ricks being the next Stingley. They came up in the same program together. But again, like I said, he's just fallen off a cliff. And then Keyshawn Boutte as well, LSU wide receiver, touted as one of the top wide receivers in the class. And again, he has nosedived. We see him here at overall rank 108. I mean, this guy was talked about being in the top 50, and here we are sitting in the back end of round 3.
Do you think Eli Ricks has dropped down as due to the fact that he's only played 15 games over the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Injuries going on there?
Yes, various injuries. It's a shame.
I mean, he's only conceded 1 touchdown. He's only conceded 3 touchdowns his entire college career. So, not bad.
Not bad if you can get it.
Big Parker Washington fan, by the way.
Parker Washington. I was looking at a couple of. I was looking at Jaden Reed, and I was really thinking about it.
He can play anywhere. Nick, No, this is your draft, but just scroll up.
Here goes Tony again.
No.
I like
you
it.
guys have me on here every year, so this is
I like it. I like it.
horrible, and
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are going to be
Tony's
like,
our
"Why is
expert.
he on
I'm
here?"
just here to drink whiskey, and that's all I'm here for.
No, just scroll up real quick, Mick. I said Nick, Mick, whatever. Roshan Johnson. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he's getting some hype now. He's getting a lot of visits with teams. So,
would you like to see him at the Eagles?
I mean, he's a power back. We haven't had one of them in a while. So,
no, we know our friend Ali would love a power back, but
might,
I've already drafted a running back. I absolutely cannot.
We
take
might need
one.
one if they outlaw the push after next year. So.
Matt Mills says, "Jaden Reed, go Spartans."
I was thinking about it, Matt. Jaden Reed is a player, and I think we do need a wide receiver 3 in this building because Quez has lost the job for me. He could lose it in a camp battle, but we'll see. I think I'm going to go Byron Young, defensive and interior, Alabama. Again, it's how he's MO, and getting defensive interior is a premium position. It might be a bit of you might say it's a reach, but I think he's a excellent talent. And
he's a school pickup as well. How he likes to
if you're coming out of the SEC with a true pass rush grade as high as it is, just give me these guys all day. These guys are monsters.
Keep the factory rolling.
You know it.
But there was a few guys there that really, really.
Quick question. I'm going to interject here while we're going to 219. Sorry, Mick. Didn't mean to cut across you. Tony, Jalen Carter. He's there at 10. You picking him?
That's not a question for me. That's a question for Howie.
That's true. But he's on the board.
What do I think if he's there?
Yeah.
I think they take him. I think you go off of talent. I know he didn't have a great pro day, but I think you go off of
he had a terrible pro day. No, wasn't not.
Yeah, but how many guys have good pro days and are terrible in the pros? I mean,
he looked like he was going to pass out halfway through.
Will Levis is throwing the ball through the roof and looks jacked, and I still don't think he's going to be a great quarterback. So
no. Well, there's a lot of people who are saying he hasn't had very many good interviews in terms of the IQ side of the ball.
So. I mean, he loves doing TikTok. That's all I know. So.
Yeah, he has got a ridiculous arm though. I think I saw him throw nearly 80 yards on one throw. Stupid. I can't even throw 40.
Yeah, and yet he still sat behind Sean Clifford for 3 years. So.
Wow. Yeah. There you
go.
Who somehow graduated in year 8. So
unbelievable.
What was that film called where he kept something Wilder?
Van Wilder.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, is that one with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Party
very
liaison.
Very own Ryan Reynolds from Van Wilder's Sam Clifford. There you go.
All right, I need to get this draft over. We can one. Phil needs his turn. So I think in particular,
feels like I'm good.
Round 7 is just throwing darts. So I'm really not terribly bothered about who we pick it in round 7. To be honest with you, I won't even watch day 3 of the draft. So I'm going to take Lonnie Phelps, Kansas, and whoever's left at 248, we can pick someone up. I'm sure that's here or hereabouts. Well, let's take a tackle that Stout you can turn into a all-pro player.
Mick, I don't suppose you've taken screenshots of all these drafts at the end, have you?
I have downloaded them each time, matey.
Well done. Good.
Yeah.
D plus Byron.
C plus. I got a D for my Jahmyr Gibbs shout, but you know what? If we get this guy in, I'll take it.
What does PFF know anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like your first. I don't know much about Lonnie Phelps or Trevor Reed. No, I like the first 4 picks. I'm not sure I'd go Jahmyr Gibbs at 30 personally. I don't think he'll be drafted that high. But
I like Andre Carter too. But also I don't know. Like I still see him even slipping more because I think people still have question marks on the level of competition he played. I know the measurements are there, and he's kind of a freak sized athlete, and people are concerned that he couldn't put on more weight because he was doing all his military training, which Phil understands. They think he'll put on more weight now. I know.
Similar athlete.
I didn't do anything. I haven't really done anything in years. Now I'm retired. And yeah, so no, I like the first 4 picks, like Liam said.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I love Christian Gonzalez. And if we can pick him up and he can play a little bit this season and then develop into one of the best cornerbacks in the league, then I think that's fantastic for the Birds. I just don't know how he's going to go that high now that we've locked down both Bradbury and Slay this year, but I don't know shit, so who knows?
No one does. That's why everyone loves mock draft season, because we just pull out all these ideas.
I would love him. If we picked him, I would love him. Yeah. Yeah.
How he does. He'll probably trade all the picks away and we'll sign. Yeah.
Now, there is a player in the draft called Amos.
Yeah.
Amos. Is he a cornerback? Am I right in saying he's a cornerback?
Oh, that's your cat's name, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It is. Did you not know where I was going with this? Who is he? Come on,
I hope Howie puts more thought into his draft picks than that. All right, Phil, are you ready to begin the draft?
Before you start, Mick, just prepare to press pause immediately, because I want to trade up to the number 1 pick and get Bijan Robinson.
I can make the trade right now.
I'm on board with that.
Look, I'm not. My mock draft is not going to come anywhere near as close to well thought out as you guys. So I might as well trade up for the number 1 pick for Bijan anyway. But no, this is going to be more akin to your missus picking a horse at the annual race meet that you go to because she likes the name of the horse and thinks it's going to win her loads of money.
You're better than that, Phil. Come on.
I've got to set the floor low, Liam, because if I somehow pull out of the park, then I can claim that I'm a genius. Anyway, let's get this show on the road, Nicholas.
Let's do it. And it's the exact same board. This is good because it levels the playing field here.
Yeah, no, I suppose it does. Oh, so it's going to be hard to go past Gonzalez there, but I tell you what, actually. No, go to trade. I want to go back to the Patriots.
I still think the Eagles could go Paris Johnson Jr. at 10. I know he's
go back to the Patriots.
Yes.
Where are the
What do you think of that, Tony?
14, I think.
Oh, 14. Thank you.
What do I think of that?
Paris Johnson Jr. at 10. Tackle.
I mean, it's a possibility. I personally don't see it, but it definitely is. It's not.
Make the trade for me, mate. Give me some money.
Not incomparable at all, Liam. So.
What do you want?
I reckon you get 46 for that.
You reckon? I've been thinking more 76, but
you need more.
And maybe a future third or fourth, something like that.
117 maybe as well, I'd say.
I'm not asked about the trade. You guys make it even. I just want to.
It's up to you.
Yeah, give me 117 and a 25 fourth rounder.
You want to send a fourth back?
Yeah.
No, he wants one.
No, I think he's want to send one back. He won't get another pick. It's 92, so you know what? We'll just do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
It's a hypothetical for another day.
All right, so we're at 14.
I just missed Paris Johnson Jr.
You've missed Gonzo, GSN, Luke Van Ness, and Paris.
I still think you're well placed here because Cansey's on the board.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of looking at. Go for Cansey.
Just keep going down before you. I'm not going to change your mind, but just I just want to see who else is there. Brian Brandt.
Why is Kincaid so high? That's ridiculous.
Joey Porter, Brian Brandt is a great shout there as well. Yeah, interesting. I love Nolan Smith.
We'll go for Cansey. I'm not going to overthink it, Mick. I'm not going to drag this out like the rest of them.
You like both Clemson boys, don't you, Mick?
Yes, I do. It's a travesty that they're so far down on the board. I was actually close to taking Miles Murphy at 10
Mick,
on this draft.
You know South Bend's in the other direction, right?
All right. No more Notre Dame slander on this podcast, or you will be kicked off. All right. Elijah Cansey is a Philadelphia Eagle. All right, Phil.
Oh.
Who?
My Anton Harrison is there again.
Damn it. I like Mazzy Smith.
Ojolari's there as well. And Osiris Torrance and Dion Jones. Similar boards.
Don't worry about going any further down, Mick. I'm not going that far down.
Right.
Yeah. I think Torrance. I think sounds good. I like the pick for Tony earlier.
Yeah,
Cyrus.
He's a great player.
There's a lot of good players. I'm quite happy with the trade, to be honest. It's given us quite a few options, but I think generally the guard position is definitely a need.
Lock it in.
Yes, lock it in.
It wasn't a bad accent there, Phil, to be fair.
Yes, it was.
It's because I've been on the whiskey. Turns me Scottish.
I know nothing about Tanner McKee. Does anyone on
Sound
this?
like groundskeeper Willie.
Does anyone know anything about Tanner McKee?
I haven't seen relevant Stanford football since Andrew Luck. So
Right, okay.
Scroll down a little bit, Mick.
I like Nick Herbig from Wisconsin.
This is probably
myself.
the worst podcast anyone's going to have to listen to, not watching live on TV. Scroll down, please. Scroll down, please.
Yeah, I know.
Can I see linebacker position, please?
Can I see his third grade grades from 1998? I can't look past Charbonnet, but I'm really struggling to not go for him. But I think so from defensive end, guard, and then but I can't back. Oh god, this is so tempting. No, screw it. I'm going Charbonnet. I'm going out there. I know I'm ignoring what's out there. I want Bijan.
Sorry, mate. You take what you want.
I picked up Charbonnet there too.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just copying all you guys. I'm just taking. Oh, Williams is still there. Lovely.
Yeah, that's a big pickup there.
Williams, please.
I like Nick Herberg edge as well at Wisconsin.
Are you going Williams on this pick?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Let's lock it in then. Garrett Williams, Syracuse.
Is that 3 times he's been picked up by four of us?
At least.
I think me, Tony, and Phil all picked him up. I think you were the only one who didn't, Mick.
Because I took Gonzo.
Yeah, so I think I need to be looking at edge, but I have no. This is where my knowledge comes in. It's just going to be position and best.
Well, Carl Brooks is a great shout there.
Mm-hmm.
I like KJ Henry, but I prefer Carl Brooks.
I am a fan of Morrow from Texas, defensive line, but
Ojima.
Mm-hmm. Not at that pick, but
yeah,
this isn't my mock.
I know, but believe me, I have no knowledge of any of these players. That is true.
It is his little brother, Matt. Yeah, it is. Nick Herberg is Nate's little brother.
Go up, mate. Go back up.
Ooh, Tank Bigsby. If you hadn't already taken
he was
Charbonnet, I love Tank.
Yeah.
Great.
No, I think I'm going to go for, if you scroll up, Mick, I think it was Brooks.
Carl Brooks, Bowling Green, edge.
Great shout.
Yeah.
Let's get him in here, you're a ragamuffin. And hitting 170.
I think he's got a high ceiling, Brooks.
I like this draft, Phil. This is looking good. I think I've got the worst of the lot here. But,
Tony's was pretty bad too.
I've already gone to
I won't be back next year. I won't be back next year.
Anthony Johnson Jr., please. I'm just
Anthony Johnson
picking him as
Jr.
I'm only going on the grading, Mick. You know, C plus C plus B. You know,
a British and Irish Eagles favourite.
Was it you gave Howie's off? So you gave Howie's free agency, you gave him a B plus, didn't you? And I gave him a C plus.
B plus is performing above expectations in most respects.
Absolutely.
And I think he's done all right.
Just below an A. It's just below an A.
Yeah, but I don't know. We just have different experiences of grading, so.
Yeah, I can't believe Mick's at on par was a B plus. Ridiculous.
I never said it was on par. You just took it as that, but
nah, you did.
I didn't.
You did.
Okay.
Michael Jones, I think, from Syracuse.
Michael Jones.
Yeah, gonna go linebacker on this one.
Yeah.
Let's
I
get him
think
in
there's
the
been
building.
I think a few of us have picked him up as well.
Yeah, I'm just going
The way
familiarity.
it's just it's where the board falls. Like, but considering we're all using the same settings, it's likely it's going to follow this.
Scroll down. I haven't picked up a wide receiver, and I'm very conscious of that. But
Got Elijah Higgins there, but Stanford player Tony. Justin Shorter out of Florida, Tony. What do you reckon?
I will never. I noticed Michael Wilson always is there in the second, third round. I will never take another Stanford wide receiver.
What about Shorter at
burned
the Gators?
No. Give me defense from the Gators. That's about it. And and Torrance. So
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, they're all darts here.
Yeah, it is. But let's just go Shorter. I like the name.
Quality analysis here in the draft.
If I get the best grade,
well be in round 7. Come on,
he'll get an A+. Watch.
B+.
Nah, because I'll get a bad
B-.
grade.
B-.
That means I take.
No, B+.
Oh, B+.
B+.
I just gave you a Shorter there. I pumped you up to a B+ there right at the end with that pick. Fuck.
I'm very surprised Carl Brooks fell to the third round.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah,
he's a very good player. It's a very good draft, to be fair.
Yeah,
Kalijah Kancey, Cyrus Torrance, Zach Charbonnet, Garrett Williams, Carl Brooks, Anthony Johnson Jr., Mikael Jones, and Justin Shorter. I mean, yeah, that's a very good draft.
It's addressing a few needs, I suppose.
I like it. Best draft then, boys? Me or Phil?
Let's put it to a poll on Twitter, shall we?
Let's do a poll.
At some point.
Let's do a poll. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Tony, we've done some mock drafts there. Let's get your pick 10. If your player's there and your pick 30, your player's there. Who you taking at 10? Like in your ideal world.
In my ideal world.
In your ideal realistic world, I mean, we're
I like what Mick said in his drafts, even with Gonzo. If he's there, the talent's there. I think you pick best available. But again, the way I did it in ours, and Phil kind of followed suit, is just the priority on our team has always been since Andy Reid, and I think that's where Hallie learned it from, is you always invest in your lines first and foremost. So, if Jalen falls, I didn't think it's a no-brainer that's who they go for. If Chancey's there, I think that's a realistic possibility. I also like Nolan that you had in your first round. Any of those guys, but I think it could be an edge or a defensive lineman. And then the second round, like I said, if Torrance is there, that's ideal. Unless somebody else falls out of the first round, depending on
you mean the second pick, 30?
Yeah. Sorry, if somebody slips. I think in the ideal scenario for the Birds would be for Bichon. It's not going to happen. But if he's somehow, because everybody is so suspect on, the shelf life of a running back, they're like, my friend even told me, and it was a good comparison, running backs nowadays are like K-Cups. You just trade them in and out after 4 or 5 years. So he could fall because everybody's like, well, you'll get 4 years out of him, 5 years.
Where are you jumping to get him, Tony? How far does he need to fall where you move up from 30 to go grab him? Because he ain't getting to 30.
No, I think early 20s, depending on what.
23?
22, 23. I think if he's there, if the move's right, I think you go and do it, because I don't think Penny's a long-term solution. We already know his health.
You give up pick 62 to jump into.
Potentially. If you're trying to win now and this team's supposed to still win now, you go and get a guy that could change the whole entire output. Yeah. No offense to Miles Sanders, but this guy can entirely change the entire offense with what he can do. and you're only opening up more opportunities for our boys on the outside. So,
and you look at the offensive line we have at the moment, Stout.
And he gets to run behind the best offensive line in football by a mile. So I think you do the move if it's right. So
Jalen Carter at 10. You move up to pick 22.
If Jalen falls. I don't see him falling.
But this is an ideal world, and it's relatively realistic that he can fall to 10 with all of the off-field.
I think that's who they have their sights set on as a potential fall. I definitely think they have ears on the ground on that situation.
Do you think they move up to like 8 if he's there?
Potentially. Potentially. I don't think they move any further than that, knowing what the cost might be.
But, and the quarterbacks that'll be available and stuff.
Yeah.
They wouldn't,
so, I mean, it all depends on how it plays out, like I said, and then what falls to 30 or in the late 20s. If Bichon's there, then you make the move. If you're all in, you make the move. He's that kind of talent. You haven't had a running back like him come out in quite a few years.
Saquon, basically.
Probably Saquon. And yeah, so I think you do it. In an ideal world, that would be the dream scenario. Other than that, I just see us investing in the line, whether DT, edge rusher, and then the offensive line, and then going from there on the rest of the inputs. And I think, you make a move for a safety, at least one of them early on in rounds 2 or 3. And if the right guy's there, and then from there, I think the other safety position, I think they're going to add another vet just to fill the gap for a year or two. And Amos from the Packers is out there, Adrian Amos.
That was who I was thinking of. I had to Google it in the end.
Yeah, from the Packers, if you can get him on a cheap deal. And obviously Rodney McLeod said he'd come back he still has a home in Philly. He still does all his charity work in Philly. So he said he'd come back. But again, it all depends on what you have to give them. So
it feels like pick 10 is both like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because we're not a quarterback needy team. We're not in a position where we're able to trade up convincingly. It's like, from 10 to 2, 10 to 3 is sort of logical if you were needing a quarterback, but it has to be the right player. And I think Carter, maybe one other, is the only players that you do that for. But even then, I feel like we've worked hard to get into this position to have an extra first-round pick, despite getting to the Super Bowl. And I feel like
I agree.
It's just personally, I'm always a sort of fate will deal you the cards that you're meant to have, and the player, if there's a player there at 10 that has to be taken like Carter, if he falls to 10 or something like that, then you take him, because it's unlikely he falls. So if he falls, it's meant to be. But if he doesn't, like with my mock draft, trade back a few places, try and recoup some more draft capital later in the draft, and pick a player that you would have probably been more comfortable taking closer to 30 maybe than you would 10.
Sure.
And I think that's how I operate with my gut feeling. And I think I joke about going for Bijan and stuff like that. I know that's not going to happen. That's a fanciful draft.
Yeah, we all know that.
And with Jalen Carr, it's a case of I can't get over the bad stuff. I know Mick says like he's an absolute stud and that, and I remember mentioning Aaron Donald is an absolute arsehole, but yeah, he's one of the best players in the game. It's different when it just shows a poor judgment in character, and I'm thinking how much
I'm with you on that, Phil.
How much can a scheme eliminate that from a player and just leave you the raw talent? You're still going to have to deal with all that baggage externally, and I think I wouldn't want to trade up for him, because I feel like that's then you kind of saying I don't give a shit about anything apart from I'm banking on him being a good player. But so far he's doing everything within his power to ruin himself, and that bothers me. But
he's not taking any interviews outside of the top 10, which is interesting.
So if you want to believe that the stories that the reason he's doing that is because the Eagles have basically said, if you're there at 10, we're taking you, and I'm okay with that, because I think if that is the scenario as it plays out,
that's where I have a flag with that. To your point, Liam, that's another red flag for me in a way, about an ego. So basically you're saying I expect to be a top 10 and don't waste your time with me. Meanwhile, I also ran away from a scene that killed my teammate and
I pleaded like
and then
no
came back and I lied to the
everyone.
police, and then I finally told the truth. So
and I mean it's also it's pretty stupid to not take interviews outside of the top 10. What if someone wants to trade up from 16 to 8 and get you, right? It makes no sense.
it feeds into the poor. It's not the fact that he's an asshole. I don't
Yeah, he's an
care
idiot.
about this.
Yeah.
He's an idiot, and he's sabotaging himself, and that really bothers me. He's got poor judgment, and I think
Yeah.
you either have a good level of judgment that can be used with, but it's like if he's doing everything with his everything within his power to hurt himself, it just I would
It
take him
does
if he
not
falls
fit
because you
within everything Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are trying to build within the Eagles. It just doesn't.
exactly there's that there's leaders in the team, and I think
Uh,
it's a difference. Like if you falls to 10, you can't pass on him, but you do not trade up for a player like that because there's just too many red flags. If there was even half the amount of issues,
Yeah.
and he was there at 7 or 8, I would definitely trade up for him. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking if he's falling to 10, there's a reason. I'm thinking if he falls in your lap, you take him, because then that's you kind of going, well, I'm just doing with the cards I've got.
Now,
Well, like
Mick,
I said,
I know you don't necessarily fully agree with that because we've had this conversation before, but there's some people out there who have said Jalen Carter and the Eagles are perfect for each other. They both need each other. Jalen Carter needs a team like the Eagles. He needs a leader like Jalen Hurts. He needs a coach like Sirianni to put him on maybe on the straight and narrow a little bit, the group they have around him. And the Eagles need him. You put him next to Jordan Davis for many years to come. Really potent interior defensive line, how he likes to build in the trenches. There's counter arguments here, right? Which is why lots of people are saying Eagles could take him at 10 if he and that's if he falls to 10.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, easily, we've always been known as a second chance organization. We've always given guys with questionable backgrounds a second chance. Look at Vic. Look at a number of other guys. Andy Reid's sons. Sorry. But we've always seen past certain things. So I'm sure, just like anybody else, we're doing our due diligence on the guy. Yeah. So if he's there in an ideal world, I think that's who they have their eyes set on. But again, there's plenty of other guys there, and like to Phil's point, and I could easily see them, if Jalen doesn't fall there, them trading back and adding more draft capital from 10.
Anyway, we should only have
still get a really good player at a position of need after 10. So
yeah, I mean, we should only ever have one Jalen in the building anyway, right? Mills went, we got Hurts. We don't need Carter. Rager's gone, right? Exactly.
If your entire draft strategy is based on Christian names, I think.
Well, yours was based on a name a minute ago. Come on, Phil. What are you doing?
No, that was family names. It's different.
Well, I wanted CeeDee Lamb, as I've said before, because of Katie's second name was Lamb. I was all in on that.
I think we're not solely set on one particular need. We have lots of needs, but we have no desperate needs at this point. We will soon if we don't draft properly this year. But I think there's opportunities out there. We've got the benefit of dealing.
I think we desperately need defensive tackle, personally.
No, we do, but what I'm saying is that Carter's not the only one. He is that generational talent, but he's got question marks. There are a couple others out there, and I think
sure.
We've got what I'm saying is we've got the benefit of seeing where the cards fall on the night. Howie will have about 1 million different scenarios in his head on his board, and he'll do the right thing at the time. And I have full faith in Howie right now. So
he has his guys though, Howie. Like I know he'll have loads of options, but he knows who his guys are, and he's not afraid to go get them.
No, but I just don't feel like he's worked hard over that. Like imagine where we were 2 years ago. Kirsten Howie, everyone wanted him out of the organization because he was drafting poorly. The Wentz situation was, yeah, we all did. And look how hard he's built up. He's every year for the last 2 years, he's garnered an extra first round pick for next year. He's built up layer upon layer. I just don't see him throwing that away for a player like Carter because he wants to get an extra. He wants to get there and get that particular player. I feel like he's a sort of person. He doesn't. He doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, it's I see where you're coming from.
There. Sorry, lads.
No, that's okay. I think we got you.
Yeah, I mean, if Chancey falls back, I mean, they're going to have a feel on how other teams are drafting in front and behind them. What they're targeting. If there's a way they can add draft capital and still get a guy like that at like 15 or something, and add an additional second or something for somebody that wants to trade up to get somebody they really need more than we do, that we're not really interested in or have a need, then I can easily see them doing that. So,
who's the one player, Mick, you would love to see the Eagles draft? Doesn't need to be a 10, doesn't need to be a 30, doesn't need to be a 62, doesn't need to be a 90. Doesn't have to be a Notre Dame player. Have you got one guy who every time you look at the draft, Mick, you're thinking, I really fancy drafting this guy. I really would like to see him in the Eagles. You're on mute, by the way, before you do speak.
Thank you for the mute comment. CJ Stroud.
Hey, I already cracked that joke with Bijan at 1, right? You can't.
Wasn't expecting that, were you? I would love Brian Brisset. I've loved him for a long time. I like his story. I think he's the sort of player that the Eagles would like as well. I think he's got good character. You're talking about the character of Jalen Carter being questionable. I think the character of Brian Brisset is the complete opposite of Jalen Carter, and what he has gone through the last season, losing his sister, and various injuries as well at Clemson. He was a 5-star athlete coming out of high school, one of the top prospects. I think he was like on Rivals. He might have been the top 3 coming out of high school that year.
You're right. I think you're right, Mick.
He's a special talent. He's got a lot in him. He's got a big heart, and again, interior defense. You can't beat that. So I would absolutely love to draft Brian Brisset, and I called it back in December, so I'd like that receipt. I'd like to cash that one in.
Called it back in December?
Yes.
I like that. I like that a lot. I know you've mentioned both of them, him and Miles Murphy from Clemson. Touched on it earlier on in the podcast. I like that. I don't know as much about him as you clearly do, Mick. You watch far more college football than I do, but I'm a sucker for character, and you want to blend character with high ceiling and 5-star recruit coming out of high school and having to deal with a lot of issues and still being a top 25 consensus pick on everyone's draft boards. I'll eat that up all day. Yes, please. Tony, you got one guy in the draft you'd love to see the Eagles sign. Could be at any position. You're looking down. Are you going to give us a Florida player here, or what's going on?
No. I'm thinking. I mean,
I'm putting you guys on the spot. Yeah, that's what I like doing on these podcasts.
I like that.
I really want to load up on offense, and I really want Deshaun. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm all in. You have him with Hurts, with Devontae, with AJ on the outside. Are you kidding me? With Goddard? Good luck. God bless.
It's crazy.
And then you have, if Penny is healthy at all, if he's the second back, you could put them both on the field at the same time, mix it up in certain formations and packages.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know which way to go. Every person's a threat. So
that would be exciting.
You all in on that, Phil, as well? As if they could have one guy.
It's not going to happen, but
it'll be cool, though, right?
I think Tony's made the summarize the point that's just floating around the Eagles Twitter and everything right now is, if they did, people would rationalize it. If he picked him at 10, people would be like, this is going to be amazing, but oh my God, what are we going to do with everything else? And I think if Howie somehow completely blew out of the park, went, yep, Bijan, no question, done it. I have faith that he would make the rest of the draft fit to damage limitation that pick as much as possible. So, okay, everyone who's crying out going, what are we going to do about defensive and offensive lines? He'd find a way to make it work. Free agents, later round picks. I feel like he'd do it. It wouldn't be as good in anywhere near as form or as solid as the mock drafts that we've done, being more sensible. But we all have faith, and you can't say that you don't, that if Howie picked Bijan at 10, we'd all be losing our minds. And then when we get to the end of the draft, we'd be all going, okay, let's see how this plays out. Because, if we've got Bijan, we've got Bijan. But he's managed to sort of, get those later round guys, pick up a few free agents, and I feel like he'd make it work. So I think, you can't look past that. If you want to, it's the best player on offense in the draft. For me, in terms of that excitement, that look how we were when as soon as AJ Brown got traded for pick 17, I think it was. We just lost our minds. We were like, draft's done, doesn't matter. We've got AJ Brown. So I think when you get to players like that, it has that kind of impact where you're like, well, this is going to do a lot for us. As long as we draft sensibly, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's I've just been having a look at the board of who my player would be that I would absolutely love to see on the Eagles next year, and Nolan Smith is up there for me. I mean, geez, edge rusher who can run 4.39.
Just keep the pipeline going from Athens.
What's that? Say that again.
Yeah, just keep the pipeline going between Nakobe and JD and Nolan.
Be great. Not? And he's great at rush defense as well. He's great on rush defense, which could, stop some of the interior problems if we didn't pick up a high-level interior defensive lineman. He's a bit undersized, right? He's 238, 240, but he's absolutely rapid. And I feel like even if he doesn't always line up on the edge, like he could line up a linebacker.
Yeah.
You could maybe line up on... Yeah, you could definitely line up a linebacker and on the edge, and him and Reddick can swap around a little bit in his first season. And I think his talent is sky high. His ceiling is sky high. Puts on a little bit more weight when he gets to the NFL. I think he could be special for the Eagles, and I think he's exactly the kind of player they want to build around. Personally, I want to see Paris Johnson Jr. He's my guy. I want to see Paris Johnson Jr. in an Eagles uniform. I loved what I saw at the combine. I liked what I saw with Stoutland coaching him at the combine. Like anytime he asked him to do anything, he just hit it nail on the head right away, and he was like, "Well done, Paris, go away." Whereas he was telling every other guy to come back. What are you doing? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And like if Stoutland's saying that to a guy, he's got the right size, right athleticism. We love building it in the interior. He could probably play it right guard if he needs to for the first year, and then move to right tackle once Lane has gone. Jurgens can then replace Kelsey in the center after this year. Jurgens and Paris could maybe switch around in that position at right guard for the first year. I just think he makes perfect fit for Howie at 10, and I don't see him going further than top 12 in the team. And I know we don't necessarily need it right now, but best player on the board. I love him so much. I can see him going. I really like Paris Johnson Jr. Can you tell?
No, but I can. But all I kept thinking about is when we talk about how the outside the box for Liam is always usually just not quite outside the box enough. And when you get your player
still
of the
lost,
draft,
didn't I?
the exciting, well, yeah, but the exciting player of the draft, the one that you can pick, barring all kinds of logic.
I don't care about that.
You still went for a safe,
reasonably
sensible player.
Your defense here. The Eagles have been elite. The Eagles have been elite at getting to the playoffs.
Why not go wide receiver at that page?
We don't need it, Phil. We don't need it. We don't need a wide receiver, right? The Eagles have been successful at building the best offensive line in the league for the last 4 or 5 years. We've missed 1 year where we've not been in the playoffs. And the one constant, regardless of quarterback, regardless of wide receiver, regardless of running back, has been an elite offensive line. And that has been the case every single year. And I believe in that as the foundation for a good team. Now we've got Jalen. It's amazing. Yes, Lane's locked in for a few years. He's young. He's the right size. He's the right fit. I think he's the best player for the Eagles, personally.
I'm only messing with you. I do love Paris Johnson as well. I was expecting you to go for Bijan. Go on, everyone.
I'd love Bijan, but I don't want to. I've spent years supporting Newcastle United, and we've had times where we played exciting, attractive football, and that's been great. But I'm starved of championships. I'm starved of trophies, and I tasted it. I tasted it in 2017, 2018 when we lifted the Super Bowl, and we're in win now. In the next 2-3 years, next 5 years could be a dynasty. I don't think Bijan Robinson makes us a Super Bowl champion. I don't think he makes us perennial playoff contenders. I think Paris Johnson continues to help us do that. And I want to see us be successful for a long time, not a short time.
Yeah, Bijan. Mate,
All
what
right,
do you
guys.
reckon? Is that,
Oh, yeah,
safe? Is that safe or not?
You're on mute. You're on mute. £5 fine.
Done it again. Here, listen. Right, I've been on the controls all night, doing all the work under the hood. You guys have just been sitting, hands back behind your head. Oh, Mick,
Drinking.
can you scroll down? Can you scroll up, please? And I've been doing all the grafting, right? So see if I'm on mute. I deserve to be on mute, right?
That's
I think
fair.
I've had too
That's
much
fair.
whiskey now.
That's fair. That's not
yeah.
fair. You should never have it. Drink responsibly, everybody.
Yeah, of course it's a safe. It's safe. It's very, very, very safe. It's his pick. He can do what he likes. But it's boring.
All right. It's boring. I want to live in a time and an era where offensive tackles and guards are not seen as boring. I love watching an offensive tackle stifle a defensive end or a running back coming through the middle. I want not running back, a defensive tackle coming through the middle. A linebacker coming off the edge. I love watching those plays as much as I love seeing a running back run. And I think that's maturity of enjoying the NFL over the course of a few years. We're not just looking at the best running back play or back wide receiver play or a dual threat quarterback or a real strong arm quarterback. I want to see linemen making great plays. I want to see cornerbacks making plays. I want to see offensive tackles making plays. I want to see safeties making plays. I want to enjoy the whole field, and I just love what the Eagles have in their offensive line. And I think I've defended myself enough now. I'll shut up.
I just wanted to bring Mick into the middle of our little tiff because I got brought into the middle of yours last week, and it's like, don't make me pick sides.
Hey, maybe this is my new thing. All right. Maybe this is my new thing.
Creating arguments.
Yeah,
getting torched off the whole fan base for your take.
I don't think that's a bad take. I think Paris Johnson is a good take. As the best
let's be honest. He got 20% of the votes for his Kelsey take, and still claimed
23% of the votes.
He
23.
Still claimed that a fifth of the fan base were on his side. It's like,
nearly a quarter. And given the shade I got thrown, love you, Kelsey. For those listening in, Jason Kelsey actually watched the clip of what we did last week. So any hope of us having Jason Kelsey on the podcast in the near future
has now gone because of it.
Well, unless you guys decide to have one without me, in which case you might have a better opportunity.
I'm going to come on your pod. I'm going to be coming on your pod, guys. But that host, he's got to be out of there, man.
Maybe that'll be the case. All right, good stuff. Listen, folks, thank you so much for everything today. It's been really fun doing a live mock draft with you all. Tony, thank you as ever coming on for your annual appearance at the British and Irish Eagles draft. I hope you've enjoyed it, sir.
Always do with you guys. Always good to catch up. Always fun to talk the draft. Anybody listening or watching, don't take this mock draft too seriously from me because I probably won't be welcome back because it was pretty bad. Although I wasn't just picking off of names, so I'll go with that.
That's true.
Yeah, the grades speak for themselves, Tony.
Absolutely. Mick, Phil, it's been a pleasure. First ever live podcast, so or I should say on YouTube, on Twitter. So anyone listening to the podcast, apologies. So first go at this, doing this all live. Hope you enjoyed it, as you always do. When you tell us if you didn't, tell us we can improve doing these live mock drafts as well. If you'd rather they were quicker, if you'd rather we change it up a little bit, we can only get better on your feedback. So we appreciate you sending any of that feedback in, and we appreciate you guys listening to us. And watch out in the next few days for more news on our NFL draft competition, prize giveaways, which Phil has mentioned, of course, for an Eagles draft 2023 hat, and there will be also a few bottles of Loch Lomond whiskey, which we'll be giving away to some of the winners of this as well. So lots to look out for. More news to come on that partnership moving forward. I spoke to Passion Avenue today with potential that there will be a draft watch-along party at Passion Avenue. So watch out for some news on that coming down the grapevine as well. We've got some really exciting guests coming up in the next few weeks. So we'll release those announcements in the next couple of days as well. Going to be drafting, I think, at least once a week from now up until the draft. So it's going to be an exciting time, and I'm sure our opinions will change and differ as we go towards it. But without any further ado, thank you everyone for listening in. We are the British and Irish Eagles podcast. We are the home of the Philadelphia Eagles outside of Philadelphia itself, and we love you.